Is the screen clear now?
Maybe.
It's blurred.
You know. Hello, hello. Happy solstice, everybody. 8 minutes in. Happy summer. Happy, happy. We're just going to give it maybe just a couple more minutes. I'd love to. Oh, good.
Oh, nice. Nice move now. That's
Nice move.
getting the full neutrino download at the moment.
Not to the very
It
moment.
was supposed to be exact 8 minutes ago.
Perfect timing. We're going to do a little solstice celebration today, or meditation and journaling, and just a little moment to be with this part of the cycle of the sun and the earth in their dance together. Talk about nine-centered relating. The earth and the sun.
Well, it's also a little unusual this year having the full moon right now.
Right.
I read that this happens about once every 20 years.
Once every 20 years when the sun, the moon, and the earth are all lined up.
No.
Tell me.
No, it's just that they're both full.
Everything's full.
The sun is all the way at 23.5 degrees Capricorn.
Yeah.
I mean Cancer, as we know, and we're having a full moon, but it's not lined up.
Okay, nothing's lined up.
It's
Sorry,
just
guys.
that they're both at their zenith, which
Yeah.
is unusual.
Yeah.
So you're getting a yin yang maximum illumination within the same 24 hours.
Mm. That's fun. That's a good programming hit. Nice little of neutrinos. Welcome, everybody. Now, did you have something to share? I see your mic is off.
Oh, is it off?
Oh, I don't mean to
It's
call
on.
you out, sis. Sorry.
That's okay. I didn't realize I was unmuted. But happy summer, everyone.
Happy summer.
You as well. Yeah, so today,
Okay.
we're actually going over to Jonah's house after this, and we're going to have this solstice ceremony with the human design community here. And sorry that you all that are with us on screen here can't be there, but we thought we'd bring a little bit of that to today's session. We also are always open to take any comments, or if anyone has something they'd like to talk about in relation to anything else we've talked about in previous weeks. There is time for that.
Yeah.
And if you have something, please come forward. We'd love to hear now. And if there's nothing now, we'll jump into what we're going to talk about. But there is space available to address anything going on for anybody.
And I'd love to, while we all marinate in that, maybe we all can just come on and say in just a few words what's alive in us, to join each other in the circle and kind of put our frequency here, all of us together in this celebration day. So hi, Liz.
Hi, Liz.
Hi.
I love seeing you outside as well. We were just talking to Now, and she's outside. And the exact moment of the solstice was about 10 minutes ago. So you're getting the full blast from the sun at his zenith of expression.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Hi, Shango, and you as well. Look at everyone out enjoying this moment of solstice. Yay, looks beautiful there.
Yay. Well, maybe we just go straight into A little bit of a grounding exercise, and since we are all outside, a lot of us are outside, maybe we'll just slide right into the way it'll go is we'll just anchor in, do a short little arrival into the space with all of us, and then Richard will share with us what's going on in the cosmos, this journey that the Earth is on, and kind of give us a perspective.
Mhm.
And then we will go into, we'll see what happens after that, actually. There we go.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. All right, guys. So since you are, whoever is outside, if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, please feel free to do so. But if that's not comfortable, that's okay too. But if you could ground your feet, wherever it is beneath you, just feel them beneath you. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it pass in your nostrils, down your throat, into your chest, into your belly, into your perineum. Keep breathing those breaths all the way down. And imagine that the air, as it passes your nostrils and your throat and your chest and into your belly and down to your perineum, that it is washing, it is cleansing, it is bringing the light of the sun into your body. And breathe out your mouth and allow everything that it has gathered and collected. Allow that out breath to wish everything away. We're going to do this 3 more times. Let it come in, light up and warm the inside of your body, down your back, into your seat, up your front. Now, as you sit here, continuing those breaths as feels comfortable for you, you can breathe normally and allow the breath to fall in and fall out. No forcing, no pushing. Just being here now with the energy in our bodies. Feeling the seat beneath us. And taking that cleansed energy that we feel in our bodies now, that light of the sun that has come into our torsos and cleared out everything that was stagnant and untrue. We allow that energy to move through our legs, down, past our shins, into our heels, down into the roots of the earth, through the strata, into the core, to its iron center of the earth, and it will wrap around, nurturing, holding, loving, and meet itself back again and come back up through the strata of the earth, through the ground beneath you, through your heels, up into your shins, past your knees, into your thighs, up into your hips, through and around your stomach and kidneys and liver and organs, up into your lungs and into your heart, past your throat into the crown of your head, allowing you to stretch and feel connected. That energy now passes up through the crown of your head, through the roof, into the sky, past the clouds, out of the atmosphere, into the space. It finds the light of the sun, and it wraps itself like an infinity around the sun, anchoring these 2 energies of earth and of sky into your body. That light travels down from the sun through the crown of your head, down your throat, into your heart, and this is where it stays. As you feel that energy swirling in your heart, moving everything away that is untrue, allowing you to remember your purpose in this body at this time on this earth, reminding you that you are eternally held, fed, and loved just because you exist. And now in this anchoring, we're going to take those 3 breaths again, and we're going to allow the clean, fresh air into our body, past our nostrils, into our throat, into our lungs, down into our belly, into our perineum, back up again. And with each exhale, you are taking that light of the sun that now lives in your heart and is renewed, and the fire is on. And you share that energy with the field around you. You radiate through your breath the truth that your heart knows. We're going to take one more deep breath. We're going to fill our aura with the truth of that light with your exhale. And as you've exhaled, you are going to recognize that your feet are on the ground and that your bottom is in a chair. And you're going to allow the energy to awaken your face and open your eyes. And you're going to come back into this space, knowing that you are held, knowing that you are on purpose. Thank you for opening this space.
Thank you, Brandy.
Mm-hmm.
That was lovely. Nice way to start this.
Yeah. Ooh. So the summer solstice, there's a lot to be said about it, but if we are to be concise and practical and apply it to our hero's journey, what we're all here doing together, I love to view this time as another time in the same cycle we keep repeating over and over, but there's a little bit different each year. Each hero's journey is covering a different spiral of life, a different form of what we are here to evolve. And this year, it really is such a beautiful invitation into more deeply. If we looked at the past solstices and equinoxes, what I've seen in the human design chart is very much how are we still being with each other. This year, it's been how are we being with ourselves. And so I'm really excited that we are at this middle part together of this hero's journey of the earth around the sun, of our experience of the interplay between those two. And so to remember and ignite our own inner fires again. That's what this middle time is for me. It is that, okay, now I get to show my light. Now I get to blow my flame onto my stick and show everybody my fire. And that's what it feels like this time of year is. And so I just, with the nurturing of the sun, or excuse me, of the earth and the shining of the sun, I just want to encourage myself today and you to light your fire today. Light that fire of individuality that's been cultivating inside of you for the past little while that Richard's going to tell us all about now.
Shall I go
Hopefully.
there?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
Does
thank
that
you
feel
for that.
good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that certainly seems to me be to what we've been seeing and been experiencing from the transit field. And let's take a look here. Get this set up real quick here. Okay, well, here is the chart for the solstice, which was exact at 2:51 our time. So just about a half hour ago. This won't move. But here's what I wanted to show before we get to this chart today. I'm just going to take a quick tour. If you can look at this, what you're welcome to. If it's too distracting and you just want to listen, that's fine. But for those that are looking, here's just this incredible pattern we have been experiencing since the Rave New Year. So with the Rave New Year on January 22nd, we had one channel defined from the G to the spleen, the channel of the perfected form, design of survival. We can think of the Rave New Year chart as an overall background frequency. Now, it always happens in gate 41 when the sun moves into gate 41, line 1. That is the Rave New Year, which always puts the earth in the gate of influence, being grounded in that feeling of expression, of leadership, of truth. But mainly just to recognize that we had the channel of the perfected form, which you have in your chart. Would you like to share anything about that?
Yeah, I would love to share that feels like an invitation into building the foundation of self-esteem of our individual behavior. I feel like it was a gift of the intuitive knowing of, okay, now it's time to start. Who am I in this newest way? We are becoming new. Next year I'll probably say, who am I in this newest way? Because we're all becoming new at each time. But because this was activated, it feels like a little gift, like a little programming thing that said, this is what you're doing this year.
Well, not only that, I love the way you're sharing that because it really does, especially in retrospect, as we take a quick tour through the new moons we've had so far. The individual channels we're going to look at next were not part of integration field.
Right.
And when we're talking integration, we're talking about the very backbone of all individual circuitry. We use terms like survival, right? I also like the word self-sufficiency for integration. It is really how we behave in the now with our own sense of power, with truth, of course. But it's just interesting that it was that channel because it was sort of a gift as a background frequency for how stimulating the rest of the lunar transits were going to be.
Right. It felt like it gave us a little key or a little hint, a little something at the beginning of the game that said, hey, you're going to need this, put this in your toolbox, and that background frequency, like you say, there was a lot going on that got to stimulate us into individual expression. And this all the while in the background was this, 5710 makes it feel good to be myself. That's something I want to say about that. Is that it feels right to be me. So it's this background invitation to surrender into the feel right of being you.
Yeah, really nice. And just to add on a few other things from this chart to go along with that is that we had the North Node in gate 51, which is Aries, a direction moving forward into greater confidence of self-expression. Want to mention that Mercury, the planet of communication, was in the gate of the fighter, but in the channel of struggle, which is the pressure to find purpose. Mercury rules our intellect, our communication, so that we can see that this has been also this idea of purpose is such a theme this year. Along with Mars, we had a Mercury-Mars conjunction in 38, bringing his fire and zeal to find and feel and be empowered by purpose.
Yeah, and persevere. I mean, 38 is that perseverance.
Yeah.
It is push forward, being myself. Every time I think of that, I think of an indigenous person. Talk about perseverance and being themselves. The entire world is technologically 100, 200, 500 years ahead of them, and they have persevered as themselves throughout all of that. That's what 38 reminds me of.
Yeah, that's a good example. We had Jupiter in 27, which to me, Jupiter is a planet of
bounteousness.
Is that a word?
Bounteousness is
bountiful.
yes.
Bounty. But that was required this year.
Yeah.
We needed a lot of Jupiter for self-care,
We did.
care for others. Uranus was okay. You want to say something about that?
No, I would keep going.
Yeah, I was just going to round them out.
Yeah,
Uranus in gate 23, where it was for over a year in the gate of self-expression, assimilation, bringing its unique innovation quality to our self-expression. Neptune in the 36, think that kind of works. You know, there is
We've had that
transition.
experience,
We are
yeah.
in transition without a doubt. And Neptune is, I feel like Neptune being connected to limitless, to spirituality.
Yeah,
There's a resource there.
Yeah.
We have to look beyond
yeah.
the structures that we're accustomed to deal with the world right
And
now.
this is what I think is so beautiful about 36 and Neptune. It feels like the Neptune, this wise man or wise person, is giving us the key to to handle these experiences. I know 35, 36 is very mundane and human experiences and all of that, but being in Neptune, it feels like the remembering that all of these experiences are for 5710.
Yeah, really nice. I like
Yeah.
that. And then Pluto in gate 60, same thing, spending a couple of years. We're nearing the end of that. Um, Pluto left gate 60 after the Rave New Year. It's in retrograde now. We'll see it again in a moment. For today, line 6. It's finally going to move forward in November,
Yeah.
and we'll exit gate 60. But that's also a very, very important piece to this
Right.
puzzle we're working with. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Which is the gate of acceptance,
Yeah.
and the gate of limitations. And Pluto is the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation at an individual level.
Yeah.
So we have this incredibly dynamic planet in the channel of mutation. And that's, I think, what we're being asked to not only work with, work through, overcome, heal from. Yeah.
It's such a beautiful, it feels when you tell the story this way, it just feels like a beautiful nurturing, this ability to find spirit through perfected form and perseverance, the gift of Neptune showing us that every experience is mystical, and Pluto showing us, giving us that limitation that Neptune is talking about so that we can see that it's all for us.
Right.
And so knowing this first part of the cycle. So when we're looking at this Rave New Year chart, and we're looking at the solstice and the equinox charts, these are the ticks in the larger geometry of the wheel, right? And so the reason we come back to this is because this is what we have been invited to this year. So now that we're halfway, now that we're ready to shine our sun, because this is what we have been working on in each chapter of the month. Now it's time to blow our horn. And so tell us about that.
Well, as we move forward, let's do that. So,
We'll go through each of them.
well, I was going to do just the new. We're just going to take a real quick look at the 5 new moons. Really just to show that the channels that were activated. We won't go through all the planets on these. Really wanted to focus on the Rave New Year we just did. But here was the first new moon after the Rave year, February 9th. And we had the channel of awareness, a design of a thinker.
And the reason you say the new moon, and the reason
Yeah.
we're talking about that.
Yeah, new moons are the clicking of the cycle, right?
Yeah.
As you were just sharing. And they're like these are the chapters.
Right.
These are the titles of each monthly chapter. And again, can point us in the direction of where is the support right now?
Right.
What can I work with to align, not to always to honor our authority
Right.
and movement and decisions and following our energy, but to recognize what is in the environment, what is in the atmosphere, and where can I align with that to get the most out of it.
Beautiful.
And to me, this is a part of the transition of our length with human design. God bless Ra. We love Ra with all our heart, but he beat that not self transit stuff. It's out to get you and kill you, and you know you're screwed. Well, yeah, okay. We were shocked into it. We get it, Ra. We love you, but we also know that there is a healthy way. There is an alignment way. Everything in the world is for us.
Right.
Not that we are going to partake of all of it. We want to partake of what was meant for us.
Right.
And so we're never with transit reports talking about something we should do to use anything or whatever. It's just be ourselves. But I really think that we can see where's the support? What are we going to be working with? Not be taken over or influenced by it in a negative way.
Because we are the humans that are here to evolve through our neurological programming. The humans that have been here before and the ones that are coming after have different jobs, but we are here to move past the neurological programming. And this is a tool that helps our nervous systems stay regulated through the growth and evolution that's being asked of us without our minds minds saying we've done something bad, wrong, and shameful.
Mhm.
So this isn't prescriptive. We're not, it's never you should have or you must. It's never any of those things. This is only a tool so that your mind can have something to chew on and work with, because we are doing the work. Us humans, for all of humanity, the ones that are alive now, are doing the work of deprogramming our minds so that we can follow our bodies, and then our minds can show up to support us. We're just turning it around. So this is a tool for that.
Mhm.
And each new moon, the reason he says the new moon as well is because the sun is programming the moon
That's right.
at this time.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, when she's at her exact new moon and completely dark to us, she is fully illuminated by this moon.
Right.
And it's like she's having a private conversation, getting her solar and
Mhm.
lunar download for
Mhm.
the next chapter.
And then she helps share and nurture that with us.
Mhm.
So let's
So
see
yeah,
what
here
we
was the
can
first
add.
new moon, February 9th. We had the channel of awareness that was activated by Venus, personal
Mhm.
planet, love, beauty, harmony, desire, and gate 61, the gate of inner truth. And 24 was Jupiter at that time. Okay, and then just to also know, I thought it was interesting, at this new moon is when Mars was conjuncting Pluto, and they were both in gate 60.
Wow.
So that's a pretty heavy duty energy.
Yeah, and just those two stories could say in February that we were given the gift, if you
Mhm.
will, if we're going to keep looking at like that, of being able to see where our passions, our morals, our values in relationships, what is something new? How can we bring a new me into my relating, into my passions, into my desires, into what I find right in relationship?
Mhm.
And isn't that always the first step to perfected form? It's who am I if I get 5710?
Mhm.
And then the next new moon is who am I with you?
Mhm.
I think that that's a really cool little step. That's, if we look at the hexagram structure, that is 1 and 2.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
Okay, the second new moon was a month later, of course, on March 10th, and we had our first channel of initiation in the lunar cycles, new moons. This time it was being activated by not only the North Node, but Chiron was also in 50. He was in 51 for several of these new moons. So we had the North
Mhm.
Node, Chiron in 51, Mercury in gate 25. And during this lunar cycle, we had Mercury, Neptune, the Sun, the Moon, Saturn, all of those passed through gate 25
Right.
during this March lunar cycle. It was just one planet after the other,
Gosh.
just getting half of the zodiac went through the channel of initiation.
Yeah. Well, and if we're developing the stories of the hexagram, that was 1, that was 2, this is definitely 3. This is
Right.
definitely some fire, some experimentation, some initiation into something new. So who am I? Who am I with you? And now who are we together? And how can that be more aligned with universal love, with direction of love of self? How can I align those planets that kept hitting in that 51? What is the next best thing for us to be together as a tribe for
Mhm.
materially success?
Well, there you go. Okay, I like that. So that
Okay,
was
there's 3.
there was that was the
March. Even.
okay. Whoops, I went to go. We had the spring equinox real quick. Let me just get back to that. I have to get my. I can't.
Okay.
Why can't I go? Sure, what's going
Here
on?
we go.
Okay. Yeah. So here we have the spring equinox, still the channel of initiation. That was only 9 days apart.
Oops.
Then we had the full moon. Okay, and here's the Aries total solar eclipse. We all know this one. This was huge in the United States. It went right through the middle of the country. The big thing about here was that Chiron, the wounded healer, was conjunct to this total solar eclipse to the very minute of the degree. You cannot get any more exact. They were perfectly lined up. We don't see the channel of initiation, but it was activated 4 hours later by Neptune. And Neptune has been in 25 since then. So it's a reflector chart at the minute, but it was the channel of initiation for the entire month. For the entire month. Okay, so that was quite a big eclipse.
And now
Then we had one more before the one we're in. So then we had the Taurus new moon on May 7th, still the channel of initiation and the channel of inspiration.
Right. So now that we've done all of this initiation, what is my contribution to the world? what can I give? What is my most authentic contribution?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
And Jupiter was in gate 8 with the Earth for the channel of inspiration, and we had Uranus still in that gate 23. So a lot of, and with the 60 being activated off and on, we had just a lot in the 24, a lot of the center column.
So again, you guys are just seeing this invitation to grow in each step of the spiral, that the moon and the sun's movement, they are doing this too and supporting us.
And not only that, if you happen to be looking at the screen, I didn't point it out, but every one of these new moons had at least 3 to 5 planets. We call it a stellium. As you can still see in Taurus, there were 5 planets there. Every one of these new moons had a stellium, which is also very, very unique. Very
And what does the
infrequent.
stellium mean for those of
Well,
us who are unsure?
Yeah, well, it's when you have more planets all together in the same sign.
Yeah.
And so you take all the frequencies of all the planets are all melding together.
Right.
So we're getting just this
A huge party.
conglomeration of neutrinos and all their frequencies joined. So I think what it means is it was just bringing even more energetic frequency to the chart,
Yeah.
because they were so grouped so closely.
Okay.
And then finally, the 5th lunar cycle that we are still in, and we will have the full
we
moon
are.
tomorrow. So just 2 weeks ago on June 6th was the Gemini new moon. Again, another stellium, 5 planets at this new moon as well. And there's the channel of mutation with Pluto in retrograde coming back to gate 60 and Mars in the gate 3.
Goodness, if this is not, I don't know. It just feels like the amping up.
Yeah.
It
Well,
feels like an amp up.
Yeah. And so the word I've been using so often is just how deeply stimulating.
Yeah.
Now, each person would have their own story of how this may have been reflected in their own life. But to me, the message comes back to the core of individuality. It's our truth, our inspiration, our purpose. Just a drumbeat of encouragement, sometimes painful, sometimes easy, sometimes triggering. I mean, that Chiron in the channel of initiation for so long, that was.
And gosh, we can see that, the more aware we are, like I said, the tools, the more aware we are of what's happening, the easier it is not to be hijacked. Now, I'm not saying we don't get hijacked, but what I am just reminding us all is that this awareness is such a beautiful tool for us, for it not to be so hard.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have to be so hard. And what we'll notice, what I've noticed in my practice and with myself and with us, is that the longer it goes, the more, somebody looks at you and says, oh my goodness, that might be tough for you. And I'm like, well, it really wasn't that tough. And I think that we get to have the consciousness now that we are evolving past the old paradigms of the way transits felt or what the human story was when these things were happening. We get to move past those paradigms. And so everywhere that you think, oh gosh, somebody said that should be hard and it wasn't, fucking stand up and say, hey, it wasn't that hard. Let's change the thought processes of the way that people perceive this. That's just what is coming alive for me right now.
Yeah. Well, and I think the more we build trust in our authenticity and personal voice of truth, that's when we have that. We're building that. Instead of being so deeply triggered, we're just like, oh, I need to stop.
There it is again.
Look, and I can heal this. So it just builds trust in our ability to continue to cleanse ourselves and remove those old patterns and wounds and all that. So there was tremendous help and support for anything related to that. And this finally brings us to today, the summer solstice. Now, this is where we're, for the first event, when we're thinking, I'm talking cardinal points, equinoxes, and our first solstice, well, the summer solstice, looking at the new moons. This is the first chart we've seen where there is not an individual channel, although there's very important individual activations, but we're looking at 2 collective channels. And what I see here, from mainly looking, even just starting with the channel of rhythm, a design of being in the flow, and that's being activated because the sun is in gate 15, line 2, which is always where the summer solstice takes place
Mhm.
for the Northern Hemisphere. But what was so unique is that the moon is in the gate 5.
Mhm.
So we have both of our luminaries activating the channel of rhythm. And so when I say transition, to me, it's now taking whatever we've gone through, whatever we've been working on,
Mhm.
and putting it really into full practice,
Right.
finding our rhythm with this new sense or refined sense of truth. And collective circuitry is all about refinement. It's the
Mhm.
patterns, the daily things, daily gratitude, taking care of ourselves, eating well, sleeping well, re-examining our boundaries to, so a lot of reorganizing, I
Mhm.
think, through the structures of our friendships and
Yeah.
our daily work patterns. And so, yeah, that's very at the solstice to have the moon in the channel with the sun, I think is extremely significant.
And I think that this lineup is beautiful with the 4816 and the 15:5 and 10 there. It's just such a beautiful ability to take all of this internal work, all of these things that we have been developing on the inside of us, and have patience for its development. This channel of rhythm it's plant life. This is what it reminds me of. And
Mhm.
plants go through these phases, and they follow the ticks that we're talking about in such patience, through such extremes. And so 515 always reminds me to be a plant. So it just,
Take in the sunlight.
yeah, to take it in, to be with everything that is here, and to understand, because I exist, everything that is for me will show up in its right timing, in its right flow.
Mhm.
And with 10 in the second line, to naturally express myself in that rhythm, in that flow. With 1648, to be able to speak skillfully the depth of my understanding as I know it today. I think that I think that, again, these are some really beautiful gifts at the highlight, at the top point. It's time for you to, when I say, to start your fire, I mean, build your fire. You put your layers of little teepees to get your fire going, and then you light it, and then you feed it a stick, and then you
Mhm.
feed it another stick, and then you feed it another stick, and then it does a little something, and then you bring it back down. And
Mhm.
so this is like the expression of self. This is what I mean by lighting our fire.
Mhm.
And this feels like the ability to do that with our loved ones, collectively, through experience, and through slowing down to again, Richard was talking about re-narrating our stories
Mhm.
and telling stories that feel empowering. And so we've gotten the practice, and now it's time to go out in the field and actually do the work.
Mhm.
And this is the support to really retell a story in a skillful way based on what you know now,
Mhm.
not the same stories you've been telling.
Yeah, yeah. So beautifully tying in the channel of the wavelength design of talent, and you could add on to that the planet Uranus just moved into gate 8, which is the
Mhm.
gate of contribution. Um, Inspiration contributed to group goals. It's one of these individual channels that speaks to, yes, it is about self-empowerment first, but how can that also empower others?
Right.
Uranus bringing his innovation, forward thinking, out of the box, never been seen before. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, more.
Um, I think it's interesting that Mercury and Venus are conjunct along with the sun in Cancer, and they're in gate 52, which is the formatting gate for the logical circuitry that is activated. So
Mm-hmm.
really bringing in this concept of, yes, be still, take the breath, be strong, collect. And again, I just keep thinking of that image of nurturing the garden. It's
Yeah.
like the garden of our soul, and making sure the boundaries are good, the relationship dynamics are
Yeah.
supportive, weeding out things that are not serving us, letting go of things that need to be let go. So all of that just feels, that type of activity feels extremely supportive for this
Mm.
chart.
Beautiful. With all of that being said, you've got more?
And then, well, lastly, I
Yeah,
think we
yeah,
should
yeah.
just bring in a little bit of Cancer. I mean,
Oh,
we're
yeah, talk
talking
about the
gates.
Gemini Cancer shift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in Cancer now with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus, and yeah, ruled by the moon, who
Ruled by
we
the
follow
moon.
with these reports, and she brings us so much of this information, this inner world, inner
Yeah.
security.
Loving self. Now that we've intellectually understood self, Cancer brings that into the body and says, how does that anchor here?
Yes, Cancer says to us to honor our sensitivity,
Mm-hmm.
to really, really cultivate that inner strength and security.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
that's a big part of this message. Oh, and one last thing we didn't mention, I can't leave out Saturn because
Oh, yeah,
Saturn
in
is
22.
such an important planet, bringing his structuring,
Mhm.
his maturity. I mean, he's always asking us to grow, no matter what.
Yeah, yeah.
And gate 22, the gate of grace, this is the energetic, individual, emotional expression.
Mhm.
And we all, as a planet, could improve by being healthier
Yes.
and more mature and how we are emotionally sharing ourselves with each other.
That's not true. My goodness, we are all learning this.
Now we'll get a dose of this for a while. He is about to turn retrograde. So he is not moving at all, barely, like few seconds a day of a degree. He'll turn retrograde on the 29th of June. And so anyway, he's going to be in 22 for quite a while, as he always is. But what an important worker's doing. So I think whenever we're having emotional exchanges that feel, if they start to feel overwhelming,
Mhm.
this is a helpful reminder. Yes, they are, because I need to learn something. There's
Mhm.
still something else to learn. So like I was saying, as we're going through all these processes together, we're learning that not to be overwhelmed, that to stop first and
Mhm.
recognize opportunity. It's not problem, it's opportunity right now.
Mhm.
I know how to do this. I have the support. We have our community. We have the tools.
Mhm.
Let me just take care of it now.
Yeah,
No more kicking the can down the road.
yeah. Beautiful. This is not a problem. This is an opportunity. This is never a problem. It is always an opportunity. I think that was beautifully said.
And the
Thank
more
you.
often we do that, the less accumulates.
That's right.
So
That's right.
it does get easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you said it all. I could reiterate all that you said in a different way, but I think you said it beautifully.
Does anyone else, as you're looking at this, if you are, want to point out anything else in the chart, or have any comments or questions? We're also going to take a quick look at the full moon chart for tomorrow.
Well, and I'd also like to maybe we give a journal prompt, or maybe we all share about is there something that you want to turn on? What do you want to ignite? What is the thing that you are going to allow to be lit, and how are you going to nurture it? I'd love to have that conversation, or to at least share in this space and bring it alive. When you share it with others, it becomes alive, because now we're all putting our attention and energy on it. And so when we also have our attention and energy on the thing that you are wishing to light and nurture, it becomes easier for us. We're not in it alone. So this is why I ask for the share, so that we can all lift each other up together.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. So the full moon.
You want to do that first and then do the sharing?
Yeah, I think maybe that could work.
And then we'll end with the sharing?
Yeah, because we can look at this full moon. And so with all that we've said, and with all that Richard has shared about what has been happening in these ticks and this story and this hero's journey of the earth around the sun, this is what we've all been invited into in such a deeper way. And now here is the full moon, the culmination of this half point that just so happened to happen right at the same solstice, which you said doesn't happen for 20 years.
Every 20 years.
So there is a 20-year portal or something that is available to us. This is a space where, the fairies can go in different dimensions and make things happen for you.
And the feeling I have is, the solstice being the zenith of the sun
Mhm.
at the highest angle, the longest exposure. It's really just this
Here I am.
roar of the sun.
Mhm.
And well, that's what every full moon is too.
Right.
And to have them at their full, it just to me, it feels like an incredible release. Like whatever that gate 60 limitation that has just been grinding on us for however long, couldn't ask for better support to
Ah,
just get it out.
yay.
Get it out.
Well, thank you.
So that's part of the unique. I mean, otherwise, what else can we say about this full moon? Of course, we still have the channel of talent, because so this is obviously one day later. Of course, the moon has moved on by tomorrow. So, but
I guess what we could
from the
say
gate
is the
5,
fourth line,
yeah.
it goes from a second line to a fourth line, which is pretty interesting. This solstice second line, is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
solstice second line. So
The second line, full
Uh-huh.
moon, fourth line. So here's the push to naturally be.
mhm.
And then the next day it's let's do it together.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and gate 10 being the gate of self-love.
Yeah,
And line 4 being the line of externalization.
Yeah.
And so I think the message could
Yeah,
be
yeah.
how can I be more, have more self-love,
Mhm.
understanding, appreciation, and acceptance? And what will that externalization of that look
Look
like? What
like.
will that be?
Yeah, beautiful. Mm. So in these last 15 minutes or so, I think maybe we can model that, but
Mhm.
um I have been cultivating a new expression of self. So I'll share that the light that I wish to shine is this after Uranus opposition, this um this priestess in love energy. Not just in love with him, but in love with life and this new creation that is coming through me. And I'm ready to light that torch of being in the joy of each and every moment of it without trying to collapse the wave function of what it must be in the future and what it must yield me and what I must get from it. And is that worth it? And all of that kind of stuff that sometimes my mind does. I'm excited to just express myself in each moment that I have an opportunity and let that be good enough.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to cultivate.
Okay. For me, I would say greater levels, degrees of forgiveness for particular people.
Mm.
In my family that have held me back in my ability to love and my vocation. My limitation, I know even there's been great degrees of advancements,
Mhm.
but there's still more to be released. And
Yes, sir. That's powerful. Mm.
well, that's mine.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You got us all on the edge of our seats on that one. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Liz, you're next on the screen. Would you like to share?
Yeah, so both gate 15 and 16 bridge my split. And so I've been feeling like so great. Just really like I've noticed just since I've been following Richard's transit reports and then like noticing how to like learning how to use my app and follow just kind of what shows up for me. I've gotten to this point of being able to kind of predict like, oh, I'm feeling like this gate must be activated and it is. And what it's really taught me is that I can appreciate what's there when it's there. And I love Richard's way that he would phrase it as like there's a lot of support for, this kind of activity right now or whatever. And learning to see it that way, it's like, okay, so right now in my life is a good time to get a lot of things done. And we've been doing a lot of, yard projects and all of these things. And it's just helped me to not worry about what's in the future or what's happening areas I'm not, but just to appreciate what is now and is here. And I know other times that stuff doesn't work, stuff doesn't flow. Like I don't have that 5:15 flow all the time. But then those aren't the times I need to try and get stuff done or whatever, and it's just been really just kind of an allowance for myself to just go with the flow of the transit and the flow of what is being supported, and that is the time, like that the timing is there and I don't need to try and chase things that aren't working.
Mm.
Something, yep, along that line for me.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Look at what's working, not what's not. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, where we put attention,
Yeah.
energy flows.
Thanks.
Mhm. For sure.
Thank you for that.
Now, are you available to share?
Yes, I am. And well, the 15 is near and dear to me because it's my own personality sun. And so I've been doing a lot of reflecting, contemplating on what exactly that magnetism is. And you brought up plants, and I've been called to revisit the design of plants lately, and plants have the 15. And what is the magnetism of the plant? It's like this, I keep wanting to call it a glue. It's like this unifying force, right?
Hildegard van Bigden called it viriditas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
It's just and right now it's in the air. There's a Rosicrucian practice. There's a breathing practice, and each season is associated with incubation. That's winter, and spring is this release, and summer is it's out there, it's in the air. And fall is of course kind of a shrinking back in. But I also think of it as manifestation as well. Things are happening and growing and blossoming and blooming right now, and I've always been a little scared of it, in that I toggle back and forth between, yes, I really want this, and then once it manifests my awareness, I shrink back in, and I'm like, oh no, like, am I really ready for this? So yeah, I think right now is, like Liz said, using what is out there, embracing it as support. Yeah, I think that's where I am with the gate 15.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. What a beautiful paradigm, this, where we've reached from resistance to thinking that we are the ones that are doing this, into surrender to the movement of our body, into learning again that the cosmos are doing things, into surrender, back into surrender to it's doing things for us. Let me just be in the flow of that. It's really pretty to hear.
Mhm. Thank you, Now.
All right, Shango, are you available to share a bit about what fire you are igniting and how you're going to nurture it moving forward in this next cycle?
No, not today. I'm still thinking what I was listening to. Thank you, though.
If you came up with it and wanted to share, I invite you to do it in the Discord and just at me or at Richard or at some of us, so that we can support you and see your vision.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank
Thank you, Shango.
you.
All right, Marissa, how are you today? Do you have space?
Sure, yeah.
Hi.
Thank you. I yeah, I have it's been a wild year so far, and I'm definitely in a similar space as Richard, and for different reasons, they're different people. But like, wow, like I want to keep moving forward in just really absorbing the rhythms and the cycles of everything going on. I feel like, as wild as it's been, I think I've or never realized, at least, how resonant or aligned with all that is, or the transits and things like that, as I'd been. And I want to where I'm hoping that it will just continue this awareness of where I'm at in my process and the forgiveness of others, but also myself, for when I do go off the rails a little bit. Being more forgiving of like myself in terms of feeling like I'm supposed to be doing this over here, but I'm getting caught up in, you know, what life is bringing me, and so that will bring other things start to kind of fall away, and just being okay with that, and I don't have to strive to keep that moving. If it's gonna be, it's gonna be. I'll get back to it. And I in just what 2 weeks ago, Uranus, or just less than 2 weeks ago, Uranus hit my ascendant. And like, wow, I mean, this movie is really wild. Like I don't even, I guess I don't have the words yet. I can't articulate the words yet, but I'm really excited to see what's coming. My prenatal part of my solar return starts in just a little bit less than a month, and I have I mean, I've kind of perused all my charts for solar returns for quite a few years, and this is like nothing I've ever seen, so I'm really excited. I have a manifestor cycle. All 3 manifesting channels are defined, and I have no idea what's in store for me. It's usually some kind of conditioning around a generator cycle, and so this is kind of pretty exciting, and it's been a wild movie, and I'm popping the popcorn at this point.
Yay. Well, can't wait to hear next year of what these triple barrels brought to your life.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you, Marissa.
All right, sweet Nancy, you ready to bring it on home like you do?
Oh yeah, thank you. I hear everyone says everything resonating. For me, it's a self-kindness piece. It's like in my own ability, without even trying to have ability, in my weakness to be strong and strongness to be weak, and love with my own limitations. Instead of beating myself up, struggling for things really doesn't really necessarily needed. Yeah, that's a big lesson for me. It's like, I guess this polarity of extreme really let me see, oh, there are all kind of it isness. The kindness is, there's just all kind of it isness. And can I still being true without needing to be nice for others, without needing to struggle for others, just because trying to be kind to others, but also without falling off the kindness to myself. Like, how can I be so unkind to myself for most of my life? That's also just this aha moment for me to see. And also the whole thing about this balance, modesty. Can I also allow myself to be tasting the extreme, be out of comfort zone? Or am I trying to stay to be super balanced to prevent the cross of prevention of those few? Or do I need to be at the same time out of balance in order to be back to be normality? Am I really not that? So yeah, it's a lot of, yeah, for me, it's like a lot of, wow, there's another layer here. Yeah. Am I doing too much or too little? Or is it really about being more or less, or just being natural?
Exactly.
Either being more or less is fine too. And that's also part of. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you all for being here. Happy
Mhm.
solstice. Enjoy the solstice celebration. We will in Santa Fe. You enjoy as well this longest day, this day of harvest and celebration.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you all so much for being here. We will make sure you're all included in spirit in our circle tonight.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.